بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
So I'll just jump in with one of the online questions from a brother. Bismillah. So this gentleman says, I have a friend who works in the sexual health field, and she speaks of how many young Muslim men and women have distorted views of intimacy and their own sexuality, and how they don't see pleasurable intimacy as part of a Muslim marriage, so they seek it outside of an Islamically condoned context. How do we as parents/elders help ourselves, our children, and our youth have a healthy view of sexual intimacy in relationships, growing up and living in the context of an over-sexualized and pornography-centered world, and when sexuality is so taboo in our Muslim circles? What is your advice for both men and women who are already impacted by this and bring it into their marriages?
We don't have that problem in Canada. It all comes from Times Square. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think the questioner pointed out the pertinent issues. It is a hypersexualized world out there. You know, maybe 30 years ago when someone would have to actually go to a magazine stand and hide it under the bed, and you know, it would have to be something that they'd have to work for it to find that type of thing. Nowadays it's a click away, and you can put your incognito Google Chrome window and won't be on your history and all that type of thing. And you know, one estimate I read somewhere a few years ago said that 75% of internet traffic is pornography. 75%. And that I think something like 60 to 65% of males between the ages of 25 and 50 or something have seen pornography within the past week.
And if I can jump in with a quick comment,
Yeah.
and the highest rates are in the Middle East.
I saw that one. I'm skeptical because I think, you know, Allah A'lam. I think it is an issue there, but I think definitely it's an issue everywhere, wherever the highest rate may be or not be. So the problem is it's so ubiquitous, it's everywhere, that again we go back to the tarbiyyah issue. So there has to be a very strong program of tarbiyyah, and I think parents at an early age for the children have to set rules about their internet use. And you know, I'm an advocate that people shouldn't have like internet in their bedroom with the door closed. That if they want to use it, then it's out in full view in front of everybody else. And even the adults should practice that, right, as an example. And that you shouldn't be sitting locked away in your bedroom with the internet on, and then the kids see that and they think, well, it must be okay because they're doing it. And this has led to very unhealthy expectations in terms of sexual intercourse, to the degree now that many men who have been exposed to pornography over a long period of time are no longer sexually functioning. And so they can't actually do it except via the warped pornographic images that they've seen, and they don't even know how to be intimate with a real woman. And this is a thing now. I don't even know if there's a pathology behind it, and they've made it sort of a disorder. I don't know if it reached that level, but this is what's occurring in our societies. So we have to protect ourselves. First and foremost, we have to be aware that this filth is out there, and we have to, and in some of the most vile ways. You know, I'm kind of bewildered in societies here in the West that kind of talk about female empowerment and equal rights and so forth, and how vile this pornography can be. You know, violence perpetrated against women, disgusting things, you know, bodily functions and excretions and things of that sort, and you know, all of this depicted in pornography. If you want to read a little about it and just become disgusted, you could read Chris Hedges' The Empire of Illusion, I think it's called. And he has a whole chapter in there on pornography and just how vile and disgusting the whole thing is. So I think it's important that we train our young men and our young women, because it's becoming an increasing issue with them as well, that, you know, to regulate their use. And imagery in general, they have to be careful about. We have now these body image issues, both for men and women. Those images you see in the magazine are not real. Those women actually have blemishes. Their thighs are actually not that thin. And this is increasingly, there's more awareness about it, but still the consciousness in one's mind remains there. So people have these unrealistic expectations about that. So I think if you read the books of the fuqaha, if you read our turath, the classical books, I've read some of it and I've been like, oh my God, I can't believe they're talking about this. They go into some detail and into some length about not just what's allowed and what's not allowed, but even some of the books of adab talk about approaches and what one should do and what they shouldn't do. And Shaykh Ahmed Zarruq, he talks about it in some of his books, and he's a faqih and he's mutasawwif and he's known as muhtasib al-ulama wal-awliya, but he goes into certain, even about sexual prowess and techniques and what should be done and not done. So I think there's no inherent shame in that. It's not a aib, right? It's not a taboo. It's may become a cultural taboo, but in terms of our classical texts, it certainly wasn't taboo because they talked about it. And I think, again, going back to mentorship, it would be quite difficult for parents to be in that kind of conversation with their kids. But if they had like an older big brother, big sister, or someone who's kind of that figure in society, then some awareness about this has to be obviously raised, and some reasonable expectations as well definitely have to be part of the conversation. And I think nowadays, one of my close friends and teachers, Habib Ali al-Jifri, he told me that as soon as my children hit puberty, I'm going to talk to them about this stuff because it's already out there. You can't pretend it's not. They already know, believe it or not. You think your innocent 12 and 13-year-old doesn't know what some of these words mean, and they do know. And so if they're not getting a proper kind of direction and channeling from the parents, they're going to get it from the outside, right? And they're going to look for it from the outside. They can do their Google searches and all those things, and inevitably the images will come, and that's the slippery slope, and that's how it starts. So we have to be probably more active parents than all of the previous generations before us, because we don't have that, like I said, community social support, and we have all of these things that are kind of working against us that are right in right in the middle of our house. It comes in via the television satellite or the line, and they don't even have to go outside. They don't have to go to New York Times Square anymore. It's right there, right? And so this means we have to be more active, right? And I know parents get tired, and I know that the easiest thing in the world to do is just put your kids in front of the TV to get some time by yourself, and then they're mesmerized by it, but it's actually detrimental to their health. And now people are saying that let the kids try to be creative on their own. Don't feel always you have to keep them entertained. If the child comes, he says, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. Don't tell them what to do. You go find out what to do, right? Because it's in those moments of boredom that they'll find something to do. And I remember when we had our kids and we were living in Syria and we didn't have TV, we had nothing like entertaining in the house. The kids would do these sort of make-up dramatic things, and they'd get they take the cushions from the couch, and I get home and they've built this castle, and they're each holding a sword, and they're like, "Ana sa'uharibuka ila al-maut," they have these big scenarios, and they pretend and make believe. Make believe is very healthy for kids. We used to do that when we grew up, right? You make believe what you see adults doing, right? And it's kind of the way that they learn. But nowadays, and that's an active way to be a child. Now everything is very passive. When I was a child growing up, they had to go fetch me from outside because it's getting too late, because I was riding my bike in the woods and on the dirt, and we used to live by the coast, and now you have to beg your kids to go outside. They don't want to go outside. They want to stay inside and watch Netflix, or they want to play on the games console, and they don't have an interest to begin with to go outside. And so kids have to have that interaction and have a more active approach to life. This hyper-consumerism is really what's behind the passive personalities that we have, and then we consume everything. We're just passive receptors for pornography and for the latest TV show, and we're watching life go by instead of living life, right? So if we start living life, these issues will become, we don't have to keep telling people, no, don't do this. It's very hard to tell people, no, don't do this when you don't have an alternative. Okay, no, don't do that, don't do this. Okay, so what do you want me to do? We have to have healthy alternatives. Again, here we go, back to the community. When the community has healthy alternatives, right? Kids should be learning crafts. Young boys should be learning how to, change a tire and how to, build a table, carpentry, things like this, stonemasonry. They should know how to slaughter an animal and how to skin it. These are skills that, kids are supposed to learn. Our young boys and young girls should be learning some sort of self-defense techniques, martial arts, right? Even team sports, fine. But anything that is going to be more of an active thing where they're building skills and they get used to the idea that I have a skill or I need to build it and I need to put practice in, right? These were skills early on. Just a generation ago, people were like, oh, I need to know how to play the clarinet. I have to practice. And I have to practice this and I have to practice that. But now the whole thing is like, no, things will just be given to you, right? That Star Wars movie where she, the new one, where she has the lightsaber and she defeats the bad guy and she flies the Millennium Falcon like Han Solo couldn't do it beforehand. Shaykh Abdul Hakim Muradi was making some commentary on that. He said it's part of the new scenario where everybody kind of, how did she do all that? She didn't even get trained. At least Luke Skywalker had to go to the Tatooine, which is actually in Tunis, right? And because that's where they filmed it and that's where they got the Jubab. And that's another conversation. And he had to train with Yoda. And he had to, go through many difficult things and move mentorship and sheikh and move, and then he goes and fights Darth Vader, but he gets his hand cut off anyway, but he, then he completes his tutelage with the sheikh, Yoda, then he comes back and so forth. So at least that was a scenario in the 70s. But now it's like, no, she knows how to do everything and fly the thing all by herself. So people have this idea like, I just have to want it. Like it's just there just to grab. And there's, this instant gratification and there's no training and building things up and things like this. So these are life skills that have to be taught early and they can have many manifestations. When the Prophet ﷺ said about 3 things to teach the kids, he told them about archery, he told them about swimming, and he told them about equestrian sports, horse riding. And when I read that and I think about it, it's not just about those 3 things, because each one of them has a particular life skill it's teaching. If you want to be good at archery or any type of firing a weapon from a range and hit the target, there's 2 things you're looking for: accuracy and precision. So you want to hit the bullseye and you want to be consistently hitting the bullseye. Those are 2 separate skills, but you learn them, practice, and to be consistently do the same thing, the same way over time is what builds that skill up. When you're swimming, this is a completely foreign environment for you. You're in the water. We're not used to being in the water. We're used to walking on land. And so you're navigating something that is foreign to you and moving through it, but that's a skill that you get in life too. You navigate things that you don't know about. And then when you learn to ride the horse and tell it where to go and when to stop and when to trot and when to gallop and so forth and when to canter, all those things, this is a huge, powerful animal. Yeah. And also you're controlling something much bigger than you in a physical aspect, right? Which is another life skill. The thing may seem daunting. I can't possibly do that. Look at the size of that horse. But with riyada and tarbiyyah, right? Because that's what we say, barabbi. You're making tarbiyyah of the horse, but really it's making tarbiyyah of you. You're the one who's actually learning at the same time because you have to have control over this horse. And so we have to, reinvigorate people's childhoods, especially from the age from like 7 to 12, 13, that area right before puberty is critical. Because if we don't work on those particular ages, this is when all the mata'ab, all the difficulties will happen once they hit puberty and they didn't get that training in the beginning. So there's a lot more we can say, but inshallah another time.
Subhanallah, it's so sad. We get kids at the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, they have all the attention from the parents, from the relatives, from the society. Once they are at the age of 14, 15, 16, suddenly they are left over and they are ignored and they have to figure it out on their own. Building life skills is very, 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 very important. I know 2 brothers. They are 2 brothers from the same father, from the same mother. And both of them, I love them. But the problem, not my brothers, I mean, they are 2 brothers, 2 of our brothers, and they are two brothers. The difference between this one and this one of them has the issue and has the problem of porn movies, consumerism, and he has always to be asked what to do, even though he's a very good man, but and indecisiveness, not knowing how to jump, and his brother is like between day and night. And what made the difference? Boxing. What made the difference? That brother, and who was younger, he went into boxing, and they could see that boxing, because he went under. He was mentored, he was trained, and his ego was tamed, because with a coach in boxing is like a sheep. So he understands. So he gets it very easily. He doesn't find it hard. The other one, if you yell at him a bit, or if he has a challenge, he just gives up. And the other brother, no, he will continue, and he will know how to go through, etc. So these are very, very important things to teach people skills. And indeed, statistically speaking, and you think about it, all these porn movies and being addicted to that, it comes from الكساد. احنا في تونس وسي الكساد يجيب الفساد. الكساد قلة the lack of what we call the leisure time, the empty time, and I would say the lack of investment. When you are not invested in a project of building yourself or of building something, you will be just. If you are not invested, you will be an easy prey to be consumed, and to go and consume things, and to have that attitude of a consumer. And then it is how to sexuality being a taboo. Let us also not mix it with something. We are not meant to talk about sexuality with kids. Doesn't mean when we say sexuality is a taboo, it shouldn't be a taboo. Sexual problems, it shouldn't be a taboo with people who are, as Habib Ali said, when they reach puberty, when they are exposed to these things, because it's already there. But we shouldn't really make sexuality overexposed to kids. The best thing, the ideal thing, is when you have kids who were never exposed to any filth, and who get married young, and then they will find their way in that. That's the ideal, and that's the ideal context. We still find it in Tareem, in the family of Habaib, etc. And they get their kids get married at the age of the boy at the age of 17, and at the age of 18, and the girl at the age of 15, 16, and they have their relationship, and they are mentored by the families. Why not? Because in Canada they get their first sexual relationship, and they start living together. At the age of 15, he has his girlfriend at the age of 13, and this is not rare to see today. Why not facilitating that through a marriage? Why not facilitating that through a marriage? That's an ideal, if you can get to that. And the families, they need to play a role. If you can protect our kids from that, and then get them married early enough before getting really exposed to that filth. But the main solution is what Shaykh Walead pointed to: get them busy, get them involved in a project, let them have a sense of belonging. Let them have a strong sense of belonging. Let them feel that they belong to a big project. Give them a purpose, a higher purpose. Let them have a purpose in their life. Give them a sense of transcendence, so they feel like all of these qualities that they need to cultivate in themselves. It's all about transcendence. Patience is about transcendence. Gratitude is about transcendence. Accepting is about transcendence. Treating others nicely is about transcendence. And also give them a nice story, so they need to feel like they are part of a bigger story. He's from a good family. He's from this, etc. So he need to keep that legacy. He need to keep that story. Or he's from a big and great religion, and he has a mission on earth. Being invested in something is the solution, seriously, and not being invested and just being like that al-hamish, marginalized, you are an easy prey to to all of that. Now, after marriage, if someone was exposed to all of that, and that was the question. The question was, how do I think that was the question? So people who were exposed to all of that, now they are getting married. How to deal with that? How to deal with that? We are Muslims, right? We believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yuhyi al-arda ba'da mawtiha. Here there is a matter of faith. Let us not try to accommodate that delinquency, because there are two approaches, and I have seen it. So there is alhamdulillah, I did not say the word. I was going to say an organization, something approach. But there is that kind of approach, right? The activist Muslim approach. They will tell you, you know what, let us accommodate the delinquency, let us accommodate the sickness. So yeah, you have to put yourself out there, sister, you have to make up for your husband, and you have to go and buy these, you have to compete with prostitutes, basically, and danseuses nude in the street. Okay, right, we'll say it like that, in that blunt way. You have to go and buy that ugly underwear, and you have to go and buy that ugly makeup, and you have to go and watch movies and learn how to do like these people, because otherwise your husband will be looking for that elsewhere, and you will be responsible for that. And we have that, that discourse is there in our masajid, and imams would say that to their people. And the blame is always on our sister, because in the beginning she's wearing makeup and she's taking care of her body, and 3 months after the marriage, no, she's not taking care of herself anymore. After she has a child. Khalas, so she's not taking care of herself, she's not going enough to the gym, and she's not putting enough whatever, hair dyeing and makeup. No, the solution is not to accommodate the delinquency, because it's enough. It's whims and desires. The more you get, it's a black hole. The more you give it, the more it will demand. You know, the more you give it, the more it will demand. The more you feed into it, and after porn movies, and after that, homosexuality will come. And it's like that. You know, it's after the soft rock, there is the hard rock. After the soft sex, there is the hard sex, and they will ask for more and more and more and more. The more you feed into delinquency, the more the delinquency will grow, and it's a body, right? It's something within you, and will ask for more food. The approach is not that. Allahu a'lam. We have to really, their faith comes. اعلم أن الله يحيي الأرض بعد موتها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to purify what we cannot purify. Go with the true tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I believe that, and let us invest our faith. Islam is not a burden. It's a liberation, and Islam is a treasure. Let us get some benefit out of it. We are carrying Islam, we are defending Islam, we are suffering because of this Islam. Let us try to get some of it. Let us try to invest it. Let us try to benefit from it, really, of it a bit. It has many solutions to our lives, and faith is not a burden. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. When you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able, qadir, to make you forget all of that. Yes, He is. Even if you are addicted. 2 things for someone who has problem of addictions. He needs 2 pillars, 2 legs you need to walk on. One of them, to know that Allah is able to help you. Number 2, to not justify your mistakes. Close the door. Close the doors. غلق الأبواب. Close the doors. Don't, okay, yeah, maybe, yeah, it's better than zina. and that thing, that discourse we are hearing a lot. Okay, you know what, yeah, I wanted to save, today and over sexual, whatever, to save myself from zina, I found myself watching porn movies or something like that, which is worse than zina, indeed. In mental health, I mean, and if I'm waiting muftis with courage to tell you really that it is actually, even Sharia speaking, legal speaking, it is worse than zina. But we have psychologists who can tell you that watching a porn movie is way more harmful than getting into an unhealthy physical, actually, relationship. Watching something in virtual screen, it affects your mind, it affects more. Actually, watching a war movie It leaves you with traumas more than a physical world. The virtual world, it traumatizes the brain. This is scientific, this is known, let alone something like that, something filthy like that, and something with that big image, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. And people being abused and oppressed in that business, and these are girls who are acting there. Their passports are taken from them. Their IDs are taken from them. They are held hostages, and they are addicted to. They give them drugs, and after that, you don't get your shot until you come and do what we want you to do. And you, Mr. Muslim brother, reading your Quran, and you go and watch that. Go to the hell, and you are going to the hell. Absolutely, you will burn there. Pray, don't pray. Fast, don't fast. And you have to hear this. You are abusing them, and you will be asked. Zina with one girl is better than abusing hundreds of girls, and more. Every movie you watch, you are promoting it. You are making it more popular online. You are encouraging that business. What are your ethics? What are your ethics? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Ala kulli hal. So it comes from that lack of manhood. It comes from that lack of investment, and the solution after marriage, when we make tawbah, we have to make real tawbah, and let us not. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able. I have known people, physical beings. I have studied with them, and we have known when we were together in the university, they have come to me and they have declared that they were homosexuals, and they acted on their homosexuality. Okay? Now they are the best fathers I have ever met. Seriously. And everything was washed. Everything was washed. Okay? And I'm coming from a position that homosexuality is a sexual delinquency, like porn movies, or a bit worse. Or the same, actually, they are on the same level. So it's something like that. It is accommodating. It comes from the same thing. It's not a need. It comes from women. It comes from emptiness, etc. I have known people who were addicted to porn movies before. I know prostitutes, and now they have beautiful lives. They have beautiful lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala qadir. يحيي الأرض بعد موتها, brings things again to life. Dead earth brings it back to life. So let us approach it. Let us ask him, Al-Muhyi subhanahu wa ta'ala, with dhikr and with mentorship, etc. And just khalas, it's not too late for you to get invested. Invest in a better cause. Go, invest. Get out of your, get busy yourself. نفسك إن لم تشغلها بالخير شغلتك بضده. نعم. Busy yourself with something good. Busy yourself with something good. It's not too late. It's not too late. Go there. Do your jihad. جهادك يا فتى. إن الحياة إن الحياة الله متاعب وجهاد، وإن الحياة إن الحياة جهاد. You have to make your jihad. You have to invest yourself in something, and خلاص, and get out of these whims and desires, and become a man up, become a man, become a woman, become a man. Just خلاص, become mature. It's not too late, and that's it. And that jahiliyyah will become just childishness and childhood, and خلاص, عفى الله عما سلف, عفى الله عما سلف. And I think here where the atu of being a Muslim, it's an atu in asset, atu in French. Let us transform being Muslim from a burden, because today being Muslim is just a burden, honestly. Let us have it an asset. It is an asset. Just being a man of God, having it's a privilege. It's a privilege. You can pray, you know that you have someone, you have the one who actually can change the hearts. Let us invest, let us think, let us meditate on that relationship. Let us invest some time in that relationship, and it will transform everything in us. That's the elixir. That's the elixir. And get out of ourselves, of our bubble, and invest in a bigger cause, and you will see it will heal. It will heal us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us.
I just want to recommend a website in answer to this question, and it also talks about a lot of matters of marriage. It's called marriageandfaith.org. Is it .org, Shalini, or .com? Anyway, one of them. You can try either one. And it has some articles that relate to this topic. I think it's a very good question that was asked. And I think that we have left a void, definitely in terms of talking about intimacy. And into that void has come whatever else is out there. It's just filled the void, whatever else that we see in society around us, and that tends to be all influenced by pornography, even in society here, because there wasn't a strong religious framework to support people, because Christianity and Judaism had such, in the way that they were expressed anyway, such a negative relationship with this aspect of life. And so I think that it's really important to have a mentor who can speak of this matter in a spiritual way, because it's spiritual. Every single aspect of a Muslim's life has to be spiritual. There's no such thing as something that's only for pleasure. If we just look at the matter of eating, and if you want to compare the two, you need to eat, and eating can be pleasurable, but above all, it has to be an act of worship. There's a way to begin it, there's a way to end it, there's a way to engage in it. Just because it's halal, technically speaking, for me to take this cup and just pour it all over my face, or to go and lick it like a dog, doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. We have to be very careful about that, because we kind of giggle when we tell people. And I remember being a teenager, going to retreats and camps and stuff like that for teenagers, and it's all like, once you get married, you can do whatever you want. That's not true. It's not a free-for-all. God is still watching us. We still have a Prophet ﷺ who was married, and we only have to think about how he must have engaged in that to understand that it's a holy thing. And as soon as you reduce it to consuming a person or making it about how the other person looks or what they can do for you, you've become very selfish in the process. And it's as if you're just engaging with your own self. The other person might as well be a doll.
Marrying their own selves, that's the thing.
Yeah, people are really having intimacy with their own selves only today. They have no thought for the other person. They have no thought for the understanding that this is building something together. That even your physical relationship, even in our Western society, it's called making love. It's not called just using someone to get your thrill out of them. Because as Shaykh Hamdi said, thrills get old, and you need something new after that. If we treat food in that way, we get sick and tired of the same old nutritional food, nourishing food. We want to get new highs. And there are people like that. There are people who want to eat, for example, monkey brains. They want to try snakes. Because it's not enough anymore to have just a healthy meal. Because they're looking for a new kick all the time. And so we have to be very careful how we approach this, and we have to recognize that this is something spiritual above all. And like I said, look at this website. It has very good articles. It's drawing on other sacred traditions that were untouched so far by Western paradigms of pornography, such as old Hindu traditions and other ancient traditions that refer to this aspect of life, which are about the spiritual content of it and the spiritual meaning of it, and how to understand that it's about energy. It's about a shared energy. It's not about how the person looks. So that we remove ourselves, hopefully, from this very childish and ridiculous level of discourse that we find inside marriages that unfortunately we get exposed to, because people come and tell us about how pained they are about how their spouse chooses to speak to them about this, where people are saying, that's my right. It's my right that you dye your hair every few days because I need variety. I need to think of you as being a different woman. And this kind of ugly discourse where, outside you're a person of God, you have a beard and you attend the masjid, inside you're worse than even her colleague at work. And it really has come to that. There are many non-Muslim men who are have far higher moral integrity in treating their partner and honoring her and accepting her and loving her exactly as she is than men coming out of very religious homes where they talk down to their wives, they threaten her that they're going to marry someone else, and they think that they have a right within Islam to speak to her like that. This is abuse. And it has to end. And we have to stop this contradiction of, oh yeah, we dress so nicely, but on the side we like to do this and that. Behind closed doors, we're also consumers of Victoria's Secret and La Senza. Be careful. There is a way to do everything. There is a beautiful way to do everything, and it robs nothing from the experience. It actually enhances the experience when you understand that modesty obtains no matter where you are and what you're doing. It even follows us into the bathroom. How can you think that it wouldn't follow you into this relationship? It doesn't even make sense. Just think about it. So there's a lot of guidance on this, and it's very important that we address this because people feel very dehumanized when they're reduced to just objects for somebody else's pleasure. It's not about pleasure above all. It's about love. And so we have to really take care of that and be willing to explore that, and no one loses. No one loses in that experience. No one is going to be denied. Many husbands are worried, oh, I won't get what I want. That's not the case. Every time you reach for a higher meaning, you actually are more fulfilled by the experience.
Alhamdulillah. What a great way to wrap up, to remember that should be about love. Alhamdulillah. So, okay, Bismillah. So on that note, just want to thank our esteemed teachers for everything they've shared with us today. It's been a wonderful discussion. I hope it's been as beneficial for everyone as it's been for me. And thank you all for coming out. I know it's been a long night, but I hope that you feel like you've gotten a lot out of it, inshallah. And a reminder that class starts tomorrow, the weekend, at 10 o'clock sharp. If you haven't registered, please feel free to come at any time from 8:30 onwards to sign up. And I just want to share one thing that Ansa shared with me before, that Shaykh Hamdi actually has a project in Montreal called Support Mariage, I believe, that offers pre- and post-marriage counseling. And they did have their first meeting a few months ago, and they involved both parents and their children to talk about some of the challenges and issues that they face. So there are many people who are trying to do, as Shaykh Walead was talking about, address the bigger problems and change the long-term paradigm of our communities. And so hopefully we'll each get to do our own part within our own homes and amongst each other, inshallah. So before, I guess, we make the iqamah for Aisha, I don't know if you'd like to make a closing dua? Or
before that, promote these things, these beautiful things that were made with love. The sweetness is within, stir to taste. And these,
you could probably do a much better job than me.
no?
Bismillah. So what Shaykh Hamdi is talking about is there is a table on display by the entrance of the Rawda that's highlighting a lot of our beautiful products from the Rawda and from the Lotus. You have everything from water bottles that allow you to infuse different products, to regular water bottles, different types of mugs with beautiful messages of inspiration that can get you thinking and reflecting throughout your day. So please browse that. All the costs go to supporting the Rawda and the Lotus. So take a look, and if you have any questions, there's lots of people from this beautiful community who can answer them for you.
You can make one of them as a gift for the next person you are dating.
Allahu Akbar, there you go. Take that to your future parents-in-law, inshallah. Or your future spouse, inshallah. Bismillah.
I would love that my wife would give me this. The sweetness is within, stir to taste. I'm giving you an empty cup.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So if you want to close us with a dua before we make the iqamah for Aisha, inshallah.
I'll give you a treat for the dua.
الله يا الله الله يا رحيم الله يا الله الله يا كريم الله يا الله الله يا رحيم الله يا الله Allah ya Kareem, of you, our Lord, we're asking the gaze of your affection to lift all our afflictions and strengthen all our unions. Of you, our Lord, we're asking the gaze of your affection to lift all our afflictions and strengthen all our unions. Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem. Who else but you to go to grant each their companion, to start a life of purpose, to reach our destination. And you're the one and only, and all else is illusion. So please, oh our dear Lord, please facilitate these unions. Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem. To live our life with beauty beyond imagination, with discipline and courage. From you our inspiration, with unity of purpose and mountains of intentions, without seeing our actions. To you our full direction. Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem. To live our life with beauty beyond imagination, with discipline and courage. From you our inspiration, with unity of purpose and mountains of intentions, without seeing our actions. To you our full direction. Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Kareem. And let us raise our families to always love Muhammad, to venerate his journey, to hold on to his standard in every word and action, intending his intentions to taste the divine treasures concealed inside this union. Allah, ya Allah, Allah, ya Rahim, الله يا الله الله يا كريم الله يا الله الله يا رحيم الله يا الله الله يا كريم. And let us raise our families to always love Muhammad, to venerate his journey, to hold on to his standard in every word and action, intending his intentions, to taste the divine treasures concealed inside this union. Allahu ya Allahu, Allahu ya Rahimu, Allahu ya Allahu, Allahu ya Wadudu, Allahu ya Allahu, Allahu ya Rahimu, Allahu ya الله يا ودود.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our brothers and sisters and bless our teacher Shaykh Walead for this, for honoring us with this visit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us all in this blessed night, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the coming days truly days of thanksgiving, inshallah, to him. And we thank our teacher for Shaykh Walead for visiting us, and inshallah he will leave beautiful traces and Mubarak traces. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him Mubarak wherever he goes, wherever he travels. And other than being a teacher, I have known Shaykh Walead through his kids, and that's actually how I came to love him more. Seriously, I heard his teachings the first day, but after that, when I have met his kids, I said, subhanAllah, I said, there is a tarbiyyah here, there is an investment. I encourage all of you during the time, during the break, etc. So we have him now, he belongs to us. So please just, without abusing him, but take from his time, but go and invest seriously and ask the good questions to get the good answers. Learn from him how he is a good father, and also learn from him how his wife is a good mother, because definitely she must be. It has to be a result of the fruit of work like that. For those who have kids, for those who have families, for those who have kids yet to come, he will maybe share some of his secrets, some of the prayers, some of intentions that he made. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect his family, protect his kids, and make them more and more successful, inshallah, in this world and in the other world. And barakallahu feekum, inshallah. Hafizakumullah. Answer Shehnaz dua.
Bismillah. Ya Allah, we ask you that you would purify our hearts and minds, that you would purify our eyes and what we've seen, that you would remove all the harmful things that have been stored through our eyes, through the negative things that we've seen that are stored in our minds. Ya Allah, you have the power to wash that away completely. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, it's between just two letters that you command with the kaf and the noon, Ya Allah, by which you command something to be. Ya Allah, it's so easy for you, Ya Allah, and it's so difficult for us alone. Therefore we stand at your door begging your help, needing you, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Erase all the wrong ideas that we have about marriage, about life, about what it means to be a woman or a man. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, elevate us to the ways that Sayyidina Muhammad taught us and what he wanted for us, the loving heart that he has for us, whereby he wants us to be true and pure and free human beings, to understand and relate to each other in the purest of ways. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, bring back the purity, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Bring back the innocence that we once had, Ya Allah. Restore it to our hearts and to the hearts of our children and to the hearts of all of humanity being the ummah of Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, let us be lights of purity. Let us be people who, when others look at us, they feel pure and they feel they feel inspired by our purity, that they see us as men and women of God and not women and men of the flesh. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, elevate us above that, purify whatever is in us that leans towards that lower state and that carnal state. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, let us taste the true spirit and let us taste the true spirituality that calls us to a higher way of being. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, let us truly look at each other as sisters and brothers, and let us look at each other as daughters and sons and fathers and uncles and aunts. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, let us be clean in how we look at one another. Let us give dignity and honor to the soul that is in the other person. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, you have the power and you've given us the means to live that way. Don't let us be of those who betray that legacy. Don't let us be of those who betray that true dignity that you have asked us and commanded us to treat each other and our own selves with. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Let us uphold that dignity of the soul in every single interaction, knowing that you are the one who holds that soul in your hands. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. And that to offend that is to offend you. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Purify us, guide us to be people who lower our gazes. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Give us back that quality of lowering the gaze that you commanded us to in your holy letter to us, the Quran. Ya Allah, nothing is hard for you. Nothing is too late. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Let us be flag bearers of modesty and beauty and the true beauty, which is the inner beauty. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, let us reach out with love to those who are younger than us and those who are struggling. Let us realize that just as harm is but a click away, guidance is also just one handshake away. Let us be the ones who shake those hands and hold the hands of those people before other people get to them, before other shayateen get to them. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Let us be ones who hold out our hands to other people so that they're caught by your love before they're caught by the snare of shaitan. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Let us feel that with urgency. Let us care for other people's well-being and their salvation as we care for our own, and even more. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Let us be connected to the most pure and the highest and the kindest and most loving mentor and guide, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in every moment, in every action, in every silence. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Wa salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad, Sayyidina al-Mursaleen. في كل وقت وحين يا ربنا لك الحمد وإلى شرف النبي الفاتحة.
الله يا الله الله يا رحيم الله يا الله الله يا كريم. Of you, my Lord, I'm asking the gaze of your affection to heal